Hello and welcome to another AutoTalk podcast. And today, joining us, we have a very impressive guest, a very strong title here. This is Michael Clarke, the General Manager of Retail and Data Solutions for Cox Auto. Thanks for joining us, Michael.
Good to be here, Richard, and quite a unique introduction. I appreciate it.
Always like a long title. Hey, look, we are here. I mean, look, you guys do a massive range of services and supply a huge range of expertise to dealerships out there. But specifically here today, we're talking about sourcing, and it's a really interesting time to be talking about sourcing, isn't it? Because there's a real big stock shortage out there at the moment. I mean, how challenging is it becoming for dealers to kind of get the cars they need?
Yeah, it's certainly a challenging environment, Richard, and it's one that dealers have had to think a bit differently about the way that they go about their stock acquisition strategy. We're seeing a lot of dealers needing to adopt new ways to acquire stock and not look at the traditional means, like just not waiting for customers to come in and buy their cars or buy cars and trade them in. Because even that in its isolation has its own challenges because, of course, the lead times on new cars now specifically, a lot of customers have a lot of time to think about their trade-in options and what they can do with it. So it's the market's compounding the problem, not just from a stock shortage perspective, but certainly from a lead time perspective to secure and keep those cars in stock. So certainly it's a challenging time indeed.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting too, in that it's really been in the last few years that dealers have actually really started to look at used cars as a really big profit center of their business. Particularly, in the past maybe franchise dealers weren't quite so eager on it, but these days it has become a really important part of how dealers make money.
Yeah, 100%, Richard. Like it's no two ways about it. The stock shortage, as we talked about, the new car inventory puts that pressure on. But equally, the automotive landscape's changed significantly over the last couple of years, as we can appreciate, but it continues to as well. We're seeing the prevalence and rise of agency models, which puts further pressure on the new car model, particularly, and around the gross margin that's available in there. And dealers are realizing that their best way to sustainability, I guess, is certainly through used car inventory, servicing and finance. So that's the three big pillars that they're looking at now. Used cars is right at the center of it.
Mm-hmm. Are the shortages and the pressure on the market out there leading to compromises around how dealers are sourcing cars? I mean, do you think they're quite often having to pay more than they really should because they're competing for that stock?
Look, I think there's certainly I don't know if I'd use compromise. I'd say diversify the way that they go about their marketing. I think what we've realised in the market is that there's a bit of a more of an omni-channel approach, which is sort of something we've talked about in that new car space for quite a while. But even from a stock acquisition strategy, there's ways that we've got to look at how we acquire stock, what we acquire, and being more strategic around it. The marketplace in the automotive landscape has increased, particularly in that used car space, across every market segment. And not every car suits every market or every yard. So dealers need to look at ways that they can look at not just their stock acquisition strategy and targeting the right cars that they want to get, but also around creating more disposal mechanisms that they can use so that they can potentially be in wholesale earn on cars that they don't necessarily want for their yard. So what we're seeing is more that diversity side of it, Richard. We're seeing the smart, the more savvy clients are looking at ways, not just looking at stock acquisition as what do I need for my yard, but how do I get throughput? How do I get volume, that velocity? How do I get cars through my business that I can just make and earn no matter what that looks like? So even if it's a wholesale perspective, looking at ways that I can bring in a non-traditional vehicle, for example, through some savvy digital tools that allow customers to engage with you from wherever they are on their journey, and allow that to come into your business and potentially make a wholesale earn, not just look at the retail opportunity itself.
Mm-hmm. And I guess you also got to remember in that sourcing is about more than just getting cars on the yard. I mean, it's also about bringing customers in. I guess a lot of the time, if you can potentially get someone who wants to sell you their car, well, there's the opportunity to sell the car at the other side.
Yeah, definitely, Richard. I guess it's still a primary piece of the role, right? Is to have that sustainability, which means you need to get stock in, 100% part of it. But definitely, that we see that leads that we're getting across our business that are looking to use the instant offer and those sorts of tools, like digital tools, are equally just as in the market for a new car or a replacement vehicle at the same time. In fact, we see that 25% of all clients are actually triggered by sell my car, buy my car type of campaigns and call to action. So there's a whole heap of customers there that aren't ready to even make an inquiry until they get some comfort around their trade-in vehicle. So absolutely, there is certainly customers that are looking to sell their car outright, but certainly those that are still in market looking to buy as well.
Mm-hmm. You just kind of briefly mentioned on instant offer there. I mean, let's talk about that. You've got this new sourcing product. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. I guess at Cox Automotive, we're always looking for ways that we can enable our dealer market to be more sustainable across both the acquisition and disposal space. We're big on driving tools that enable profit as well as streamlining the process. And it's something why we're so passionate about what we do. Like no one else in the market has the breadth of product or solution that Cox Automotive has, and we already have a bunch of tools that enable the disposal piece of it. So this is a natural, I guess, or a nice complement to that product suite, particularly our digital retailing tools that already take the customer through a buying journey. But again, isolating out that instant offer piece and allowing customers to choose when they want to engage with the dealership and on what terms and get as much information as they want in that funnel is something that we're very alive to, is that customers are very unique and they're used to having power at their fingertips and being able to get the information they want. And the days of sort of holding back information from a customer really are gone. Customers can get the information through sources on their own merit. So we want to enable that process and make it available. So I guess from, we talked about before, but the disposal tools through Manheim and dealer auction are already well entrenched in the automotive landscape, particularly in the Australian New Zealand market. So now it's about how do we provide more opportunities for customers to interact with dealers on a more, interactive basis, provide more meaningful information. So just as a bit of a precursor, Instant Offer is backed by Kelley Blue Book, which is a massive data set across the globe, really. So we use that as the baseline. But then it enables dealers through a really powerful rules engine to be able to supplement or create their own stock acquisition strategy and price it specific to what they're willing to pay or not willing to pay equally. So if there's a car that we specifically don't want to put a price on, we can do that. We can also provide a range. I'll just get you to show that video. So as you can see on the screen, Richard, the idea of this is to allow customers to drive their inquiry through the website, as an example, where they simply put in their vehicle details, select their vehicle, select their options that are specific to the factory options, answer some questions about the vehicle, the condition and other sample information in there, and then simply get a price on the vehicle in a really quick and easy and efficient manner. So customers want this information and transparency up front. Obviously, we work on a model of reciprocity. You've got to give a little to get a little. So we need the customer to provide their information, but customers are more willing to do that because they know there's something tangible at the other end. So it comes through with an instant offer. The customer can then book an appointment if they want to have that car validated or price validated, and they can simply make that booking and complete that, and that'll be sent through to the dealership either via our lead management system or via an email lead template that was sent to them. So as I mentioned before, the power is in the rules engine that sits behind that. So the questions that were shown there, Richard, really are flexible and based on the dealer's choice. They're not static. They're not hard coded. They are absolutely as many questions or as little questions as you want to see. And we're seeing some customers being really innovative around the way that they approach stock acquisition and really getting targeted, even down to things as micro as the color of the trim and pricing it accordingly to that. So again, dealers can be as broad or generic as they want to be, even to the point they can provide a range rather than a price if they just want to be as a lead generation tool. But the dealers are getting the most value out of this, are being targeted, strategic, and aligning this to what they want to require and being more aggressive in that space. Because as you said before, there's a lot of competition in the marketplace right now, particularly in the used car space, and you don't want to be the one left at the back end of that process. You want to be on the front end of that process, acquiring leads. We see right now that across most of the good dealerships, 60% of customers that buy a car don't trade their car in. So there's a massive opportunity, and we've seen numbers like 42% of them are selling privately. So it's a big opportunity in that space. There's more selling private than there is trading in, and we're not tapping into that space. So we're being targeted and strategic around the way we do it, not just the tools that we use, but the way we market to those tools to drive traffic to your website. It really creates that front door to your dealership because it's one of the first questions customers ask. We know for a fact that over 62% of customers inquire on trade-in valuations as their primary source of interest. So it's a really big pull.
I think one of the things that really appeals to me as a potential customer is, to be honest, when I'm in that kind of digital research stage, I don't want to have to talk to someone and kind of negotiate. I love the idea of just being able to do it, get something instant that helps me move on with my buying decision fairly quickly. Is that something you find people are less actually eager to speak to people these days? They want all this information beforehand?
It's ironic that we're on a video podcast asking that question. But yeah, absolutely. It's a reality, right? Like we're compared now from a process perspective. We're compared not to other dealers. We're compared to other channels. And I can buy anything from Amazon or eBay or Apple or whatever brand you want to put against that. And it's touchless and seamless and it's delivered to my door the next day. And that's the experience we're now being based on and compared to. And as an automotive network, we're well behind that process. So this engagement, this interactivity is fundamentally what will drive that behavior. And we see it across the marketplace where 85% of customers are more likely to buy from dealerships that offer transparency in the process. So it's a massive process or massive part of the solution you need to have is that digital e-commerce environment. And so we and our tools plug seamlessly into any third-party website. So you don't need to be fully laden or loaded up with Cox Automotive products. You simply can take this product in isolation, which again is a big part about what we do, is about being agnostic to the overall solution rather than being, you must take these products for this solution to work. So it's absolutely, it's a no-brainer in my view, and customers certainly do engage with it.
How good do you find customers are at assessing their own vehicle? I mean, have you got any learnings yet about whether people are overrating the quality of their vehicle or underrating, or generally are pretty much hitting the mark on average?
Look, it's pretty close. There's certainly some outliers, Richard, as you can imagine. There's never a perfect formula for this. I guess there's a lot of experience both locally in some of these, locally in regards to some of these things that have been done by other vendors. But I guess where our learnings predominantly come from is that Kelley Blue Book has this model in the States for some time and is a massive player, a massive, pillar in the used car environment over in the United States, and certainly what we're basing our learnings from. But most customers do honestly present the car pretty close to what they think. There are some discrepancies around model variables and option packs and those sorts of things. But as far as the conditions themselves, they are pretty close to describing the car accurately in the majority.
Mm-hmm. Have you got any numbers yet on how many people, I know it's a new product, so you may not, go in for a quote and go through with actually selling the vehicle to the dealer? Have you got a percentage rate on that yet?
We do. We're sitting just shy of 1 in 5 customers will actually purchase or sell the car to the dealership.
That's pretty good.
Look, we're really buoyed by it. Like, end of the day, these are customers that have come onto a website for a host of different reasons, right? They're either early in their process, just looking to get information, or they're ready to buy, or they're waiting for their car to arrive and comparing what the car might be. And there's those that are out there that just want to price in their car, just want to sort of see what the market says their car's worth. So considering that we're very early in the funnel and we're available to customers at the point of research, we're really buoyed by those results. And we're also seeing those dealers that are engaging with this process seeing a significant increase in gross margin against those cars too, because the acquisition cost is a lot less going direct versus having to pay, wholesalers and other third parties for the sourcing of that tool. So yes, we're seeing a really positive result early on.
Now, if we take it back out to the broader look at sourcing at the moment and take into account, obviously, that as a great tool, I mean, what are your kind of top tips for dealers at the moment and how they can sharpen up their sourcing operations? What can they do to get better cars at the best price onto their yard?
Yeah, it's a good question, Richard. I think the two things that I would call out is just digitize and diversify. I think that's fundamentally what we're looking at. We need to open the net as far as where we're casting to catch these customers. So not looking at what our predetermined stock matrix might be, actually looking a little bit deeper. So understanding, again, what we said before, that there's wholesale opportunity in this marketplace, even for the cars you don't want. So if you acquire smart, you can then still make and earn both on a retail and wholesale perspective. So create multiple revenue streams. That's that diversify piece. The digitized thing, like, you just need to define your digital acquisition strategy. You need to be very clear on it. You need to engage with tools such as instant offer to be able to provide the customer that insight and comfort that they're looking for, while still protecting your own interests in the marketplace. You need to monitor your current inventory appropriately. I think we've got a lot of really good tools that help you identify where your stock is and what's happening in it. And again, look at the ways that you can not only diversify your acquisition, but diversify your disposal as well, to make sure you have methods for getting rid of vehicles that you don't want, whether it's aging stock, so you don't carry it too long, or whether it's stock that you've acquired that you don't necessarily want to keep. So they're the kind of the two strong messages for us. And when we talk about digitize, you need to get the message out to the market as well. There's no point putting a tool on your website and not telling anybody about it. And customers are looking for price my car, valuation. There's a whole heap of business models based on that solution. So you need to get a little piece of that pie, because customers are absolutely transacting with a good source of stock and margin.
Yeah, I think the point you made there in regards to making sure you've got a disposal strategy in place too is really important. I mean, it's really easy to forget that an aging stock sitting in your yard, it's taking up a place another car could take. It's probably costing you interest on floor plan, and if it's not working, it's not working.
Yeah, and we don't just trade cars we want for stock, right? We still need to have a multi-channel approach to the way that we dispose of cars we trade, cars we acquire, digitally or traditionally. And that's why, again, Cox Automotive is pretty exciting to have the Manheim and the dealer auction space in the back end that helps supplement those disposal elements as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, you guys, of course, have a lot of people out in the field who are kind of experts in the space. If someone wants to learn more about, Instant Offer specifically, but also the broader Cox Automotive platform, what's their best channel for finding that out?
Yeah, in the interest of providing 15 names for people to reach out to, I might just say go to coxautoretail.com.au. So that has all the information that we talked about today, as well as the other products that we have available. And there's the ability there to get in touch with us on that, which comes straight through to the sales team, and they'll be in touch promptly. But give them a bit of insight as to some of the things we're working on and some of the new things we've got in market that I think are super exciting, and I'm sure they'll resonate with the audience.
No worries. Well, we'll put that link down the bottom there so that people can go to that direct. Thank you very much for joining us, Michael, and thank you for those who are watching. Don't forget to, whatever platform you're watching this on, like, subscribe, share, all those things so we can keep bringing you more great automotive industry content. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you, Richard. Thanks for having me.